It was the holiday season, and I never expected that a simple text message would lead to the most shocking moment of my life. It all started with a casual, almost innocent request from my daughter, Lisa. The message came through while I was sitting alone, sipping my morning coffee, looking out at the snow that blanketed the yard. "Mom, come join us for Christmas. Just come over and wash the dishes. We'd love to have you." At first, I thought it was sweet. It was a family gathering after all, and there was always something about Christmas that softened the heart. But as I read the words again, something felt off. Why just wash the dishes? Was that all they thought I was good for? I sat there, pondering whether to go or not. But then it hit me, and a small smile tugged at my lips. I had something much bigger than just Christmas dinner to offer. I had recently taken back the $10 million estate that I had originally planned to leave to Lisa. You see, my daughter had always been greedy, always wanting more, always scheming behind my back to get her hands on my wealth. Lisa had been so charming over the years, so sweet when she needed something, but it was becoming clearer to me that she didn't truly care for me or appreciate the life I had given her. It wasn't the first time she'd asked me for something and turned it into a demand. And each time, I had complied, thinking she would change, that she would become the loving daughter I had always dreamed of. But now, after everything that had happened, I was done. I had already made my decision to take back the estate, and this was the moment I would remind her just who had the power. I quickly typed out my response, each word carefully chosen. I didn't want to give away too much, just enough to make her squirm a little. "Enjoy." I sent it and put my phone down, feeling strangely calm. I hadn't said much, but it was enough to send a message. But that message would stir something in Lisa that I wasn't expecting. Not even 5 minutes passed when my phone rang. Once, twice, 3 times. By the 5th call, I knew she was already starting to panic. And then, the next thing I knew, my phone kept buzzing with call after call, text after text. In total, I counted 85 missed calls, each one from Lisa. It wasn't just the volume of calls that made my heart race. It was the tone of her voice in the messages that followed. "Mom, please, I need to talk to you. Mom, don't do this. I'm sorry, please, I'll make it right." I could feel the tension building in me. I had crushed her scheme, and now she was realizing what she had lost. The estate was mine again. And though I had expected some reaction, I didn't expect her to be this desperate. But as much as I wanted to answer and enjoy the satisfaction of hearing her grovel, I decided to wait. I had to make sure she truly understood what had happened. I turned my phone off and sat back in my chair, waiting for her to come to her senses. But deep down, I knew this would be far from over. Lisa wasn't going to let this go easily. I wasn't sure what would happen next, but one thing was for sure, this Christmas, everything would change. Would she beg for my forgiveness? Or would she escalate her schemes even further? The silence in my house was deafening, and as I stared at the phone, waiting for the next message or call, I couldn't help but wonder, how far would she go? I waited, and waited. The silence of the house was almost deafening, but every time I glanced at my phone, the screen remained blank. No new messages, no new calls. It was as if Lisa had disappeared off the face of the earth. Maybe, I thought, she needed time to calm down. But I knew my daughter well enough to realize that silence from her wasn't peace, it was strategy. I tried to distract myself by tidying up the house, putting up a few more Christmas decorations, but my mind was consumed with thoughts of what was coming next. Would Lisa just accept her loss and move on, or was there something else brewing under the surface? Late that afternoon, I was sitting by the window, watching the light fade from the sky, when the phone rang again. This time, it wasn't Lisa calling. It was her lawyer. I had never expected to hear from him. Not like this. The call was brief, but his words made my heart skip a beat. "Mrs. Harris, we need to discuss the matter of your estate. My client has instructed me to inform you that she intends to contest your decision to revoke the estate transfer." I could feel the air leave my lungs. The audacity. Lisa had already tried everything she could to get her hands on that money, but now she was taking it a step further. She was going to fight me in court. I wanted to hang up right then and there, but something inside me told me to stay calm. This wasn't the time to act impulsively. I had spent years building my life, making decisions that were right for me and my future. I wasn't going to let Lisa's greed tear it all down. I ended the call, my fingers trembling as I set the phone down. A part of me wanted to laugh at how far Lisa was willing to go, but I knew this was serious. A legal battle over the estate would drag on for months, maybe even years. And it would cost me dearly in both money and time. But I wasn't about to back down. I had already made my decision, and I was going to see it through, no matter what. As night fell, I sat at the kitchen table, trying to focus on the task at hand. The phone rang again, and I almost jumped out of my seat. I quickly glanced at the screen, expecting to see Lisa's name, but instead, it was a strange number. I hesitated for only a moment before answering. "Hello, Mrs. Harris, it's Detective Simmons. I'm calling regarding a matter of importance. I believe you should be aware of something." My heart skipped. What on earth could a detective want with me? "Is this about Lisa?" I asked, already knowing the answer. "Yes, I'm afraid so. We've come across some information that you may want to know about." I sat up straight, my mind racing. "What do you mean?" I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. The detective's voice lowered, as though he was hesitant to share the details. "I think you should prepare yourself. Lisa may be involved in something much bigger than just a legal battle for the estate." Before I could respond, he hung up. I sat there, my phone still pressed against my ear, unable to comprehend what I had just heard. What had Lisa gotten herself into? Was there something else at play here, something that went beyond greed and manipulation? I had to find out. I couldn't wait any longer. This had gone too far, and it was time to confront Lisa, once and for all. Just then, my phone buzzed again. This time, it was a message from Lisa. "I'm coming over tomorrow. We need to talk. It's urgent." The message sent a chill through me. It was clear now that this wasn't just about the estate anymore. This was something deeper, something far more dangerous than I had ever imagined. What would she say? What had she been hiding? And, more importantly, what did the detective know that I didn't? The stage was set for an explosive confrontation. I couldn't back down now. The next morning, I awoke with a knot in my stomach. The events of the previous day had left me on edge, and the message from Lisa only added to the tension. "I'm coming over tomorrow. We need to talk. It's urgent." What could she possibly have to say now? After everything that had happened, there was no way I was going to let her manipulate me again. But, part of me also couldn't shake the feeling that something wasn't right. The detective's words echoed in my mind. Lisa may be involved in something much bigger than just a legal battle for the estate. I spent the morning pacing the house, trying to gather my thoughts. I had already decided that I wouldn't back down. Whatever Lisa had planned, I wasn't going to let her have her way. I had to stay strong, for myself and for the future of my estate. But the unknowns were eating at me. What had she gotten herself into? By noon, I received another call. It was from my lawyer this time. "Mrs. Harris, we've received a request for a meeting from Lisa's attorney. They want to negotiate a settlement regarding the estate," my lawyer said, his voice steady but with an edge of concern. "I think we should discuss this before you meet with her. Something about this doesn't sit right." I was quiet for a moment. Negotiate a settlement. I wasn't ready to give up the estate, especially after everything that had happened. But I also couldn't afford a prolonged court battle. I knew the legal fees would drain me, and the emotional toll would be even worse. "I'll be there," I replied, trying to steady my voice. "Let's meet." But I'm not backing down. The meeting was scheduled for later that afternoon, and it gave me a bit of time to prepare. I dressed in a simple yet professional outfit, hoping that my calm exterior would give me the strength to stay firm in the face of whatever Lisa's lawyer had in store. But even as I left the house, I could feel the weight of the situation pressing on me. Lisa was pulling out all the stops, and I wasn't sure what she was capable of. The meeting went exactly as I expected. Lisa's lawyer, a slick, well-dressed man named Mark, was charming but ruthless. He made an offer, one that sounded reasonable at first. "If you agree to transfer half of the estate back to Lisa," he said smoothly, "we can avoid a long and costly legal battle." We can settle this amicably. Your daughter just wants what's fair." I stared at him, trying not to show how much his words were irritating me. It was always the same with Lisa. Always trying to paint herself as the innocent victim. But I had lived long enough to know better. "No," I said firmly. "I've made my decision. I'm not giving in." She had every opportunity to show me respect, to show that she was worthy of my trust. She failed. Mark seemed to sense that my mind was made up. He leaned back in his chair, his eyes narrowing slightly. "Are you sure you want to make this difficult? Lisa has a lot of power, you know. She can make this process very painful for you." I didn't flinch. I had already been through too much to let a threat like that stop me. "I'll take my chances." With that, the meeting ended, but I knew it wasn't over. Lisa was just getting started. As I walked back to my car, I felt a sense of unease wash over me. I couldn't put my finger on it, but I had the distinct feeling that I wasn't prepared for what was coming next. Lisa had always been resourceful, and now it seemed like she was pulling in every resource at her disposal. I had a feeling that her next move was going to be much more dangerous. I drove home in silence, my thoughts racing. As I walked through the front door, the phone rang again. It was Lisa. My heart skipped a beat. I hadn't expected her to call so soon. I had prepared myself for a confrontation, but not for this. I hesitated for a moment, then answered. "Mom," Lisa's voice came through the line, sounding strangely calm. "I need to talk to you. I didn't mean for things to go this far. But if you don't listen to me now, you're going to regret it." I felt my stomach twist. What was she planning? Was this another one of her schemes? Or was it something else, something darker, something I couldn't see yet? "Come over, then," I said, my voice cold and steady. "But be warned, Lisa. I won't let you walk all over me anymore." Her response sent a chill down my spine. "You won't have a choice, Mom. This isn't just about the estate anymore. It's bigger than that." The line went dead. My heart was racing now. What did she mean? What could possibly be bigger than this? And why had she suddenly become so cryptic, so threatening? I didn't have time to think about it. I needed to prepare for her visit. Something told me that this wouldn't be the reunion I was hoping for. As I sat down, my phone buzzed again. It was a text from Lisa. "You're going to regret this. I'm coming over, and this time, you won't be able to stop me." I stared at the screen, my fingers gripping the phone tightly. She was coming, and when she arrived, everything would change. I had no idea what to expect, but one thing was certain, this time, I wasn't just fighting for my estate. I was fighting for my life. The tension in the house was unbearable. Every corner of the living room seemed to grow darker with the weight of the unknown. I tried to distract myself by straightening the coffee table and fluffing the pillows on the couch, but my mind was spinning with thoughts of what Lisa might do next. The cryptic message she had sent, the threats, the mysterious tone of her voice, everything pointed to something much more dangerous than a simple dispute over an inheritance. I had no idea what Lisa had gotten herself into, but I was certain it wasn't just about the estate anymore. And as much as I wanted to prepare for her arrival, I knew I needed to stay calm. My daughter had always been good at manipulating situations, at making herself look like the victim when she was, in fact, the one causing all the trouble. But this felt different. The stakes were higher, and I was starting to fear that I was in over my head. The doorbell rang, cutting through my thoughts like a knife. I froze. It was her. Lisa was here. I stood up slowly, my heart thudding in my chest. I couldn't just wait for her to walk in and take control of the situation. I had to meet her head on. This was my home. This was my life. I opened the door, and there she stood, Lisa, in her best, "I'm the victim" expression, her hair perfectly styled, her eyes hidden behind dark sunglasses. She looked calm, too calm. But I wasn't fooled. "Mom, we need to talk," she said, her voice smooth but cold. I didn't let her in immediately. "I don't think there's anything more to talk about, Lisa." Her eyes flickered for just a second, but she quickly recovered. "You don't understand," she said, stepping closer. "I didn't want it to get to this point. I thought you would come around. But now, well, now it's out of my hands." I could feel the warning signs flashing in my mind. This wasn't the Lisa I knew. This was someone else, someone far more dangerous. I didn't step aside. I didn't invite her in. I'm not interested in your threats, Lisa. What's this really about? Her expression faltered for a moment, but then she regained her composure. She glanced behind her, as if checking if anyone was watching. Then, in a whisper, she said, I've done something I can't take back. You won't get your money back, Mom. The estate. It's already gone. My stomach dropped. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. What do you mean it's gone? I demanded. You can't have taken it. It's legally mine. She smirked, the familiar greed in her eyes. You think I didn't know that? You think I didn't have a plan? I've already made arrangements. The money's moved. The estate is as good as lost. My blood ran cold. What was she saying? How had she managed to do this? I had taken every precaution to ensure that the estate would be legally protected, and now Lisa was telling me it was gone. My heart raced as panic started to set in. Had she somehow forged documents, gotten someone to help her? I tried to stay calm. If you think you can get away with this, you're wrong. Her lips curled into a cruel smile. I don't need to get away with anything, Mom. It's already done, and you're the one who's going to have to face the consequences. You won't get that money back, and you won't be able to stop me. No one will believe you. I could feel the floor beneath me start to tilt. She was serious. I wasn't dealing with a child throwing a tantrum anymore. Lisa had crossed a line. She had done something that could ruin me, something beyond just taking the estate back. As if on cue, my phone buzzed again. I glanced at it quickly, expecting another threatening message from her lawyer or one of her associates. But when I saw the name on the screen, my blood ran cold. It was the detective. I didn't hesitate. I stepped away from the door, my hand shaking as I answered. Detective Simmons, what is it? His voice came through the phone, urgent and breathless. Mrs. Harris, you need to listen to me. I've just received some new information, and you need to prepare yourself. Lisa is involved in something far bigger than I realized. This isn't just about the estate anymore. There's a criminal element to it. I froze. What do you mean? What are you talking about? Lisa has been in contact with some very dangerous people, and I believe she's made arrangements to move a large sum of money that doesn't belong to her. You need to get out of there, Mrs. Harris. Now. The words hit me like a freight train. What had Lisa done? Who had she gotten involved with? And why hadn't I seen the warning signs before it was too late? I stood there, holding the phone, my mind racing. Lisa was already in my house, smug and confident, with whatever plan she had set in motion already underway. And I was standing here, caught in the middle of it, with no idea what would happen next. Mrs. Harris, get out of there. Don't confront her. Get to safety now, Detective Simmons urged. But it was too late. I turned to face Lisa, who was now standing just a few feet away. Her eyes were narrowed, her posture smug as she waited for my reaction. And in that moment, I knew, this wasn't just a fight over an estate anymore. This was a battle for my very life. Before I could move, before I could process what was happening, Lisa stepped forward with a cold smile and whispered, I told you, Mom. It's already too late. And then she pulled out something from her jacket. Something that sent a chill down my spine. My heart pounded in my chest as Lisa stepped closer, the object in her hand glinting in the dim light of the living room. At first, I couldn't quite make out what it was, just a flash of something shiny, something that didn't belong in a typical family confrontation. My mind raced as I tried to process what was happening. Was it a weapon? A phone? A contract? Lisa's eyes gleamed with satisfaction as she noticed the confusion in my face. It's over, Mom, she said, her voice cold and unfeeling. You never should have crossed me. I took a step back, my mind scrambling for a way out of this situation. The detective's warning echoed in my head, Lisa is involved with dangerous people. The fear clawed at me, but I refused to let it show. I couldn't let her think she had the upper hand. Not now. What is that, Lisa? I asked, my voice trembling despite my best effort to sound calm. What are you planning? Lisa looked at me with a sneer. You're not going to understand. You never do. But let's just say, I've made sure that you'll never see a penny of that estate again. Not now, not ever. And if you think anyone's going to believe your side of the story, you're even more deluded than I thought. I couldn't afford to waste any more time. I had to figure out what she was holding, what she had done, and how I could stop this madness before it spiraled further out of control. Every nerve in my body screamed for action, for a way to get out of this mess. Then, the piece of metal in her hand shifted, and it became clear what it was: a flash drive. A simple USB drive. I blinked in disbelief. A flash drive. What on earth was so important about a flash drive that Lisa was willing to go this far? You've been in contact with the wrong people, haven't you? I said, the pieces of the puzzle starting to fall into place. This isn't just about money. You've tied yourself to something illegal, something you can't get out of. Lisa's smirk faltered, but only for a moment. You have no idea, Mom. This isn't about you. This is bigger than anything you could understand. I've secured my future. You're just a footnote. My breath caught in my throat. It was all starting to make sense now. Lisa had been involved with people who weren't just after money, they were after something much more dangerous. And she had used me, the estate, to get what she wanted. What did you do, Lisa? I whispered, the realization of what she had done hitting me like a ton of bricks. What's on that drive? Lisa's eyes glinted with a mix of anger and triumph. You're not going to like it. But it doesn't matter. It's done. You're done. I've already made sure that no one will care about your side of the story. There's nothing left for you to fight for. I could feel the weight of her words settling around me, threatening to crush me. What had she done? What was so irreversible that it had led her down this dark path? Just then, my phone buzzed again. I quickly pulled it out of my pocket, my hands shaking. It was a message from Detective Simmons. Get out now. It's too late. Lisa's involved with dangerous people, and she's making sure the estate's finances are locked down. If you don't leave, you won't be able to undo what she's done. I stared at the message, my heart racing as panic set in. I had to get out. This wasn't just about the estate anymore, it was about my safety. I turned back to Lisa, who was still standing there, holding the flash drive like it was the key to her victory. Her expression hadn't changed. She was certain she had won. You're not going to get away with this, Lisa, I said, my voice trembling, but with determination. You think you've won, but you've made a mistake. You've underestimated me. Lisa laughed bitterly. What are you going to do, Mom? Call the cops. They'll never believe you. I have all the power now. And you're nothing but a memory. Her words cut deep, but I wasn't going to let her have the last word. Not this time. In a split second, my instincts kicked in. I turned toward the door, not even looking back at Lisa. I had to leave. I had to get somewhere safe before everything spiraled further out of control. My hands were shaking as I grabbed my keys from the table by the door. But just as I reached for the handle, I heard a voice. Not from Lisa, but from behind me. Leave the house, Mom. Now. It was Detective Simmons. I whipped around, my heart pounding. He was standing in the doorway, his expression hard and unreadable. You shouldn't have stayed this long. Lisa's crossed a line. There's no turning back from this. Come with me. Now. I didn't hesitate. I didn't need to hear another word. I bolted for the door, pushing past Lisa, who stood frozen, her face pale and angry. As I stepped out into the cold, night air, I could hear Lisa's voice behind me, shouting, You think you can stop me? You think you can escape this? You're making the biggest mistake of your life. But I didn't stop. I didn't look back. I knew, without a doubt, that this was the beginning of something much bigger. The final confrontation hadn't even begun. The truth was out there somewhere, and I wasn't going to rest until I found it.